but somehow they leave Germany with a 1-1 draw. And that might be the result that can send them to the quarterfinals. Welcome back to All About Arsenal. And tonight we're reacting to a huge Champions League result. The Gunners have drawn 1-1 against Bayer Leverkusen. And if we're being honest with ourselves, we were not at our best. This was one of the games where I've seen us really struggle. And it's quite funny, bearing in mind that we had a lot of players that were rested from the game against Mansfield because we wanted them to be fully fit for this game, as well as the Everton game, as well as the Bayer Leverkusen second leg. Unfortunately, the Nats looked leggy for a long stretch of the match. We struggled to impose ourselves on the game. Our tempo was very slow, our creativity was lacking, and Leverkusen actually looked far the more dangerous teams for large portions of the night. But in the Champions League, it's not about playing beautifully. Sometimes it's about surviving moments and finding a way to stay alive in a difficult time. And that's what we did tonight. See what happened yesterday against Tottenham. They struggled, played cool, crappy, and of course, shipped in 5 goals. Liverpool tried their best against Galatasaray, but they also lost 2. So we were expected to actually get a good result against Bayer Leverkusen. This was a game that it looked that we were good enough to get a result. But right now, I won't argue. I'll just take my draw, come back to the Emirates next week Tuesday, and really cook. Hopefully, the result against Everton should support the lads on to know what is required of them, because this is a game that we should have done better, in all honesty, that we did not. So let's just go to the slides. Of course, there are a couple of changes on both sides. We had the match preview video where we spoke about how Leverkusen were going to use their patented 4-2-3-4-2-1 formation with Kessler Hushman. This is a formation that Alonso used as well in his time. McFlecken wasn't fit enough to start, so Beswick was in goal. The trio in defense were Jairo Kwanzaa, Robert Andrich, and Edmond Tap Soba. The wing backs were Enes Poku and, of course, the exciting Alejandro Grimaldo, while in midfield it was Ezequiel Palacios and Alex Garcia. Behind the striker were Martin Terrier and Ibrahim Maza, while Christian Kofane led the line. For Arsenal, David Raya was in goal. Julian Timber was on the right-hand side. Nkapie played against his former side on the left, while Gabriel and Saliba played in the middle of defense. In midfield, we had Martins Zubimendi play alongside Declan Rice, while Berichi Eze was ahead of them. Both flanks saw the likes of Gabi Martinelli and Bukayo Saka play, with Vitor Gyökeres leading the line. So this was as strong as you get. The interesting player at wicket that was never used, Odegaard. And I expected Arsenal to do well in this game. I expected Arsenal to have more than enough to get a victory. But what we saw was different. Looking at the match stats, yes, we had more possession, 55-45, but we also had a higher XG. I'm guessing that because of the penalty that we scored. But Leverkusen had 10 shots to our 6. Leverkusen had 3 shots on target to our 2. Leverkusen had 1 big chance to our 2. We missed a big chance. We committed more fouls, and we had just 1 more corner than them. For the XG plot, our open play XG was 0.82. The penalty XG was 0.79. So that was really limit us. I have a high XG. So our passing network, we had more passes than them, 523 to their 442. We also had more accurate passes, 87% completion. But all they didn't really mean much, bearing in mind that We were not penetrative enough. We didn't have that impetus to get what we needed. Defensively, they had more tackles, 13 to our 4, had more interceptions, 11 to our 6, had more clearances, 26 to our 9. That's what you would expect. They also won more of their duels, 34, compared to our own 33. And of course, had more grandeur, 27 to our 19. So clearly, this was a game where Arsenal didn't do well enough. The stats show that, we had some good parts, but the opponent had some other good parts too. But I was disappointed to really see how he played. Now, the first half, in all honesty, was a struggle. From the opening whistle, you could see that Leverkusen had a very clear plan. They pressed aggressively, they closed the passing lanes in midfield, and they prevented us from, building rhythm. This wasn't like the Tottenham game where everywhere was so wet and everyone was falling on the floor. But the midfield battle was very intense. Palacios and Garcia were very, 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 what's the word to use? Combative and tenacious. Arsenal struggled to move the ball quickly through the break. We struggled to break their defensive structure. Declan Rice found himself under pressures. Mendy also struggled as well. Every time they received the ball, they were heavily closed down. On the flanks, Bukayo Saka had a stinker in all ramifications of that word. He struggled with it. I actually thought that he'd be able to do something against Alec Grimaldo. But unfortunately, this was one of his poorest games. There were a few moments where it looked like we created a clear opportunity. The only moment in the first half where we had some free-flowing football, that was when Eze, did a shimmy that got to Gyökeres. Gyökeres saved Martinelli, and with the gaping goal in front of him, he blasted the ball to the crossbar. So it was a struggle in every sense of the word. Every time he won the ball, they moved quickly and tested our defensive organization. I was not really happy with the way we played in the first half. We should have done better with the chances that we had. But unfortunately, as this slide says, the first half was a struggle for us. So we went into the break at halftime, 0-0. The thing that Thomas had told the lads what he expected of them and stuff like that. But unfortunately, Leverkusen took the lead. This was a very good cross that was played for, was it Garcia? I can't remember. I know Ryan made a good save over the bar. And for the resulting corner kick, Grimaldo swung the ball ahead into the danger area to the far post. And for the life of me, I don't understand why nobody was there to mark Andrich. He had enough time to pick his spot and knock the ball past Raya. Eze was supposed to be tracking someone else, but I think he got impeded and fell on the floor. But Andrich scored this goal, and this goal basically took the wind off our sails and also put some momentum on the Leverkusen side. They started playing very well. It even looked like they were going to even score a second goal, and everything looked very concerning. However, we made some changes. We brought on Bukayo Saka, Noni Madueke for Bukayo Saka, then brought on Kai Havertz for Victor Gyökeres. After I realized that this game needed energy, we were not threatening enough in the attacking third, so changes had to be made. Gyökeres had a very poor game, even couldn't connect well with his strike partners, But the substitutions actually proved decisive because when Noni Madueke came to the pitch, you noticed the difference. Arsenal had more direct running, Arsenal had pace on the wings, Arsenal had the player that was willing to attack defenders 1v1. And of course, Madueke stretched the defense in more ways that we had not done in the entire night. When Saka was with the ball, he was always slow in his attacks and he always got doubled up. But the goal that we scored was from a brilliant moment from Madueke. Was with Grimaldo, he kicked the ball real fast, went beyond Grimaldo, cut into the box, and Malik Tillman tackled him. God, doing the watch along, thanks for everyone that was part of me in the watch along today. It was awesome. Doing the watch along, I was waiting for that VAR call. It took forever, But eventually, Madueke's aggression paid off. That penalty was very important for us, and it was good to see how he forced the defender, or the midfielder, sorry, that was Malik Tillman, to get the goal. Now, one key thing to note is that yes, you've had the penalty, but someone needed to take it, and that's where Kai Havertz stepped up. I can imagine the occasion playing against his former team, a team that really loved him back in the day. The pressure was immense. There was a long wait for the VAR call. Gabriel Jesus picked the ball, gave it to Kai, dropped it down late in the Champions League, 89th minute, home crowd, screaming at you. He needed to have ice cold veins, like nerves of steel. But what did he do? He showed incredible composure, picked his spot. He was calm, he was focused, he was clinical. Yes, Bestwich dived the right way, but Harvard's shot was more than enough to beat him. And there was this massive relief that I got seeing the goal coming. I was so concerned because when I saw Havertz play the ball, it didn't look too fast, but at the same time, I was happy that the ball went in. And when that ball went in, within a couple of minutes, we had a set piece. Actually, I thought we were going to steal it, but for some reason, I think it meant they handled the ball or something. Like the ref was just being a prima donna. There was a moment where Havertz and one other defender, that was Havertz and who was it? Grimaldo, yes, were holding themselves in the box. The ref just came, just dishing out yellow cards, like, whatever, man. But what Havertz did was enough, and obviously we had the draw. So looking at our player ratings, David Raya gets a 7 from me. He wasn't really tested in the course of the game, but he made a couple of neat saves here and there when he was called into action. Julian Timber gets a 7. He was always getting to many dangerous positions. There was a very lovely cross that he received and nodded the ball over the bar from less than 6 yards. But he was always in some good positions. Although his crossing in the final third left a lot to be desired. I really wish he can improve on that. He can't be against a 6. This was not one of his better games. He kind of struggled a bit on the left-hand side. Did okay defensively, but didn't do much offensively. Gabriel gets a 7. He had a tough time with Kofane. They struggled with each other. Excuse me, sorry. It's like almost 12 a.m. here in Lagos. Apology, the body is, telling me I need to go and sleep. But I have to cook this stream before I sleep. Man. You know what? It's all about us now. And when you guys are here on the chat, listening to what I'm saying, so obviously I appreciate that. Gabriel had the whole fight with Kofane throughout the game. Sometimes he excelled, sometimes he didn't, but all right. Saliba, did well to attack, defend well too, gets a 7. Declan Rice gets a 6 from me. This was not. He looked busy. I think he looked tired. He looked overwhelmed in midfield. Had a couple of neat passes here and there. Had a couple of corner kicks too. But that influence I expected from Declan Rice, I didn't really see it. Mendy gets a 6. Another game where he struggled to impose himself. Saka gets a 5. It was one of the worst performances I've seen in a very long time. He couldn't complete his take-ons. For some reason, he couldn't go beyond Grimaldo, which was shocking. And I was not happy. I was unhappy with his performance, and I was very happy when Madueke came on. And the manager even recognized the fact that he was not playing well tonight, and he had to leave the pitch. For Madueke, who made a better impact. Easy gets a 6. Another game where he really failed to impose himself offensively. His off the ball work was quite decent. Had a couple of deep passes here and there, but that was it. Martinelli gets a 7. He made Poku get a yellow card, and he had some very good games on the right and left hand side. A couple of crosses. He was decent. He wasn't super. He was just decent. Gyökeres gets a 5. He was failing to connect with his teammates. Many of his passes were going astray. He didn't even register any shots. Had only 20 touches and was subbed. Terrible. So what does this draw mean? Arsenal is going to go into the second leg against Leverkusen with a draw. It means that they have it all to do at the Emirates. If they draw again at the Emirates, they're going to go into extra time, and that's what nobody wants. So looking at the other fixture that took place in the round of 16, Liverpool lost to Galatasaray. Bayern Munich destroyed Atalanta. Tottenham fumbled against Atletico Madrid. Newcastle dropped the ball against Barcelona. That was a game that they were meant to have won, but because they had a very late penalty that allowed Lamine Yamal scored the goal for Barcelona. Leverkusen, excuse me, Bayer Leverkusen drew 1 with Arsenal. Bodo Glimt, these guys are something else, man. They beat Sporting CP 3-0. Paris Saint-Germain got their sweet revenge against Chelsea, smashing them 5-2. And of course, Real Madrid also beat Man City 3-0. They should have made it 4 with a penalty that Vinicius Junior had, but unfortunately he missed it. So both legs are going to take place on Tuesday and Wednesday. All the Wednesday games are going to take place on Tuesday. All the Tuesday games are going to take place on Wednesday. Not sure if I'll do a watch along, but when that time comes and I'm getting closer to it, I know the decision I'm going to make. So finally, to our next opponent, we are playing Everton in the Premier League. This is a very, very big clash because we don't want to allow Man City have any room to charge us. And of course, they've had a bad result in midweek. They play West Ham next, and Everton is fighting for their Premier League status and their Premier League lives. So we need to do our own business. I think we are playing before Man City. And if we do that, we'll take the lead to 10 points. We need to put them under some kind of pressure. I'm looking forward to that. So some fans know that, some fans with me included actually, know that Arsenal were very lucky tonight. Yes, there's some truth in it. But yeah, Leverkusen created the better chances. But it's our reality. We left Germany level on the tie. And we have the second leg at the Emirates, which is the dynamic of this matchup. So, this wasn't the perfect Arsenal performance, far from it. But in knockout football, sometimes results matter more than the performance. Arsenal will now return to London with the tie back perfectly balanced. And of course, if we raise our level in the second leg, then we have a fantastic chance of making it to the quarterfinal to play potentially Bodo Glimt. They will beat Sporting training in Norway, and they're going to travel to Lisbon next week. We don't know what's going to happen. Many results are going to be interesting next week. So looking forward to them. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you at All About Us now for more videos. Till then, come on, you Gunners.